welcome to Magical Mondays, guys. So, this week we didn't have a whole lot coming in for the channeling portion, so I'm just going to relay what the mermaids brought through today, just like this, while I shuffle everything for you guys. So, they brought through this beautiful water that had every spectrum of color. They did mention that there was a focus on healing this week, especially the body, resting. There's a need for really being in a receptive energy. There's a lot of change going down. Collectively, and I think their biggest emphasis was on release of control. They really did bring through a lot of messages about music, like solfeggio frequencies, sound frequencies, singing bowls, singing forks. Anything like that can really help you this week because the goal is to move the layers off and wash it away. So there was a need to make more time in your life for intuitive practices. And they also mentioned any form of prayer. And they mentioned prayer maybe not in like the typical context, but really like airing out what you need from the universe right now. Just vocally speaking out, I need this, I want this to change, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And really airing out your grievances with the universe can really take you far this week because there's a lot of building energy right now. And as you tell them what you need, that soothing energy is going to come through, but it's also going to build your future timelines for you. And that's kind of why they're wanting you to air out your grievances. So whether it's like writing a heartfelt letter to the universe about what you need most right now, whatever you need, however you want to do that, I would recommend that. A lot of people do that through prayer. Some people do it through music. And again, those solfeggio frequencies, those sound frequencies can really help you clear out. But there was a strong need for surrender because right now in the collective, everything needs to come down into simplicity. It's like you're in a mess and you have to let go of what's complicated and you need to just allow it to be released and let the universe show you how it crunches down. You might be asked to let go of a lot right now, but they're not asking you to do it right away. They're asking you to kind of keep your perspective open. And again, air out your grievances. The universe is going to send you help. And it's going to send you help in terms of how you collapse it down. So don't make any decisions right away. Just let the universe collapse it down. This is a time for divine assistance, not for figuring things out. It's more receiving. And if you really want help with that, work at your heart chakra was really like what they were bringing through. So in terms of what this collective is needing for this week, let's see in our reading portion. Rewiring the nervous system. Yeah, that was coming up hard. So because 2026 has been such a time of massive change, I feel, the mermaids were really wanting to just let you settle for a little bit. They really want you to just take your time and be in the water, take relaxing baths, whether it's like a really nice shower. Like there's a sense of just needing comfort that's coming through very strongly here. Whether it's like carving out a couple of hours for your own comfort, whatever it is that you need, there's an emphasis on that here. And just allowing that to just be something you bring into your week this week. I find strength in survival. And it's just also knowing, no matter what changes, you're going to make it through, you always have. And even if we don't like how it looks, there's been lots of times we've made changes in the past and we didn't like how it looked, right? I'm sure that's relatable to everybody. And that's kind of what they're saying. There's a lot of doors opening, but first, the energy of what needs to let go first needs to move out. So any clearing practices could be really big this week too. Polishing my heart. Feeling is a power that helps me heal. Now, in the visions that they sent me when I was doing my channeling I always do before this segment, there was a lot of crying. There was a lot of waterfalls, there was a lot of just letting it move out. I feel like whatever you're releasing right now for this collective, it didn't start here. It might be like something that's been a wound for a long time, or like a really, really long story that would be hard to explain to somebody. There's all these little pieces, and they want you to just air out and release it, because when you do, you'll be able to see, they're saying the sunlight peeking through. You'll be able to see what's coming in to replace it and why it suits you more right now. The changes are not easy, though. They're tied up in a lot of ego layers. And so that's why she's saying polish the heart. And I'm not saying they're tied up in ego layers to be negative. More so, they're things you really care about. They're things you worked really hard for in a lot of ways. These are transitions that can be a little bit difficult for some of you. Creating cooperation. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. Now, this card in particular is like your team wants to help you. But they're like vampires. They can only do it if you ask them. That's the hard part about spirit guides. You have free will, so they'll never overstep you. That's not what they'll do because you're the one driving the car. Now, if you want to drive the car somewhere else, that's when they give you directions. So if you ask them, hey, like I might ask my spirit guide, like, hey, Joseph, I don't like the options in front of me. Can you show me why they benefit me, or can you show me how I could get something better? And then he's going to just pass me the map. Now, I don't see the map. I'm not aware I have the map. It's just suddenly I get these little inklings that I need to do something different. Like, oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. But here's something that I say over and over again that's been like the most important thing. You can't solve the problem from the problem. Because you're a vibrational match to the problem. So if you're thinking, how do I get out? How do I get out? How do I get out? You're not going to find the answer there. But if you drop and you're like, I'm going to go do something that makes me feel good, that makes me feel capable, that makes me feel strong. Like I'm going to go out for coffee with a good friend. The answer will just airdrop to you. The only reason it won't is if you're really attached to the problem, which is where a lot of us are. And that's why surrender. So if you embody that surrender by taking that time for the next week, maybe every day, just taking that time to just take a load off, whether it's a sound bath or like a good bath, a walk, going swimming, whatever it is that you do to decompress, that will really help you see how they're working for you. Because the truth of it all is it's not that they're not wanting to help you. It's that sometimes you're not in a receiving space to receive the answers they want to give you because your field's too cluttered. By the way, check out Energy Mastery if that's your problem, my friend, because it's built for it. All of the sessions in Energy Mastery are targeted energy work. They remove things from your field to create space, and the things they remove are like anxiety, stress, overthinking, looping, worry. So it's perfect for a situation like this where you're like, I don't know what to do, cut the noise. How do I cut the noise? Energy work. And that's it. It's as simple as that. You don't have to do clearing on clearing on clearing. You don't need to change your whole life. You just cut out the noise. And a lot of people were not taught how to cut out the noise, and they're all wrapped up in, I have to control, I have to change. No, you don't. You just need to cut out the noise. Clear the field, and then you'll have clarity. But smudging your field will not do the same as energy work, because energy work is going to go right to the layer that we're looking for and move it out. That's what it's made for. Where things like Reiki, etc., they're not targeting that area. They're targeting the whole body. So it's a little bit different in how it can bring you what you need, but that's why I built it that way. Because so much of the time you actually need clarity on your actions. You need clarity on what to do next. You need to move the feelings out of your field. You need to just let it take a load off in a way that actually helps. And so that's really, they're wanting to find a way to cooperate with you right now. So if that resonates, there's a free trial down below. You guys can check it out and cancel whenever you need to, or if you want to stay, you can stay. But yeah, they're trying to teach you as a collective. This is not just for one person, but for everyone. Just the collective at large, not even just my collective here. There are things in your life that, okay, so here's how it actually happens. And a lot of people don't know this. Strife, problems, create a need for something, right? When the need is created, the solution is born. So let's say you want $1 million. Something would have to piss you off enough to make you want $1 million. Let's say you want to move, and you have to move. Situations would lead up to that, provoke you, then you would ask for a move, then the solution gets created. Things aren't created like this. They are, but they're created out of a desire for. The contrast, the problem, is actually what creates the solution. So when you're in the middle of the problem, you're creating the solution actively. You have to know that. You can't have the solution without the adversity. Whenever you ask Spirit for a blessing, it has to give you adversity first. Most of the time it won't give you, because if you could have it, you already would, right? And so when Spirit creates a problem, like when your life brings you a problem, you have to go and look at it and go, okay, what is this trying to move me to? What is it trying to clear to bring what I've asked for in? Because that's what it's doing. That adversity is creating a solution, which is why you can't get the solution from the problem. You can't receive it in that space, but you do need it. You do need the strife to be able to create the solution. Things aren't just created at a whim. They're created out of a need, right? Like when there were too many spiders, maybe the fly got created. You know, like there's like there's a need. There's a hierarchy in everything. Look at the animal kingdom. That's a good way to see how what I'm explaining works. There's always something created out of a need. And so that need has to exist. So that adversity that you're feeling, it's likely coming from something you've asked for, and maybe you're ready for it, so the universe is making room. And sometimes you don't like the room it's making at first because it's changed, but you're sure gonna like what it gives you in 6 months. This is what's happening. You're recalibrating right now. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just learning to honor what that can look like. A fire reveals the path of renewed direction once the burning is complete. It has to take something down. That's why there's so much change around you right now. For what you've asked for, you have to burn it down. So don't be mad about having to burn it down. Just surrender into it. Allow the universe to bring you the next steps. But the key to that is surrendering into it. Processing grief. And this is exactly surrendering into it. Sometimes when we go through something, we're so freaking angry and we're so frustrated at, the adversity itself and the fact that it exists. And that's all fine and dandy, but if you don't give that emotion somewhere to go, you kind of stay stuck in the problem because you're not processing the feelings, so the feelings keep coming back. And instead of processing the feelings, you're trying to find a solution. But you actually just need to process the feelings. Because once the feelings are processed, the solution is what's underneath. And it'll come to you easily. It'll come to you clearly. And again, if you have problems with that, check out Energy Mastery. It's what it's for. And you don't need to hold on to all of this. You just need to be a companion to it. So processing that emotion. My losses prove how deeply I loved. Right? There may be a lot of things that the universe is showing you now that you might need to let go of. But it's preparing you for something. Expanding unity consciousness. Okay, so I am one eternal light appearing as all. And to bring that down and to ground that down into something that's maybe more digestible for people is you are all hyper connected. Everyone is connected. You are all God experiencing itself. You're all spirit experiencing itself. We're all separate when we're in human bodies, but are we? No. Not fundamentally. We're all parts of Source, right? And so what you see is the variation of Source. And when we feel separate, when we're in Source, it's so easy to get what you want, right? Like you have everything you want. You're literally Source. When you're down here and you're in a body, it feels separated because your vibration, you're noticing all these areas that you feel are separated, like people going through things or universal issues, like issues in the world, poverty, famine, all that kind of stuff. You're noticing war. You're noticing all of these things that are separation. But you yourself are not separation. And that is happening from the perception of separation. When someone believes that they have to fight something or take something away from someone else to get something. That's not Source, and it's not the truth. While you may observe it, you don't have to be in that energy. You know what I mean? If you come back to yourself, no matter what situation you're in, if you come back to yourself, you take care of yourself, you hold space, you'll move to something healthier over time. And like I've experienced so much, so I'm talking about this from the lens of actively experiencing some of those things, right? Where it's so difficult when you're in it. But there's a secret to vibration, and it's if you can find happiness in the moment. Even in the tiniest things, you'll always attract more. So if you are switching your focus to looking at what makes you connected to others, what allows you to see the connection between all things and all people at any given time, to explore that unity consciousness and to really drop down into how are we actually all connected instead of I am feeling so separated, and actively looking in your day, where are we all connected? What am I connecting with other people on? Where am I seeing myself in others? Where am I seeing God in others or Source in others? And really allowing that, you'll start to see that traffic network of connection, it pours back into you as you notice it. But separation, it doesn't. Because fundamentally, separation separates. But when you look at the connection between all things and you validate it, like for me, I channel, so every day I'm thanking the beings that I work with and I'm noticing what they bring in for me and I'm noticing how my work helps others and I'm noticing how others are helping me and I'm noticing. The more that I take that time to notice, the more I have to notice in that vein. And so source will pour back into you. But maybe right now you've gotten caught in separation. And maybe because of everything going on, that's been really difficult for you. And maybe you are in a little bit of a 3D mindset where you feel like so much is being taken away from you because you're in a space of transition. But when you boil it all down, what is that transition serving to do? It's trying to move you into something you've asked for. Maybe more money, maybe a better relationship, maybe anything that you are really needing. And it doesn't have room to land right now. For it to land, the landscape of your life needs to change a little. And that's when that surrender is so useful, because it can tell you why. So if I were you, I would be like, show me how this benefits me. Show me how these changes will benefit me. All right, what else for this collective spirit? What else for this week? For the lovely viewers. Whew, Magical Mondays. All right. So funny, because I've just been feeling like things need to go to the wind. And when I was talking to the mermaids, they were like, you need to air it out. You need to speak it. You need to air out your grievances with the universe. And you have creator air. Air moves things. Air moves things. It lifts things off and it takes them away. It clears. So if you are feeling really heavy, one thing that one of my mentors used to do is she would basically teach us to sit in a field in our mind and just imagine this big wind, and you would put your worries on the wind and the wind would carry them away. That could be a really good way of airing out your grievances, like the mermaids were talking about this week. Things are heavy, and when you're dealing with the element of air and things are heavy, you don't have clarity. That's like a pressure system. You know what I mean? If you look at it literally, it's a pressure system. So what needs to be lifted? What needs to be lifted so you can see things clearly? That might be a really good exercise to try. The spark of hustle. Right now, you might want to stay busy. Right now, it's like you can't change anything that's happening. And that's hard. But when you are in movement, take it really literally. When you are in movement, things are moving. If you're stuck right now, you need to move. So how do you move in your real life so the spiritual life moves? You take a walk, you go on a vibration pad, you go to the gym, you dance, you do whatever you need to do to move is going to move. So the air is going to move, and the movement is going to cause you to get unstuck. There's a mundane way to influence the spiritual in this situation. Sometimes the spiritual influences the mundane, and sometimes the mundane influences the spiritual. If you are in movement, you're going to be moving energy off your body. That's going to be moving that pressure system out, and that's going to get you some answers. You might have really been focusing on the spiritual to solve a lot of problems right now, and they're like, no, you need balance. So you need to integrate more of the real world into your life. You might have just been really in your day-to-day checked out, and then doing your spirit work, and then just not really doing a whole lot else, right? It might be like a work, sleep, do what I need to do, go home, sleep situation. You need something in your life is not balanced. Something in your life is not feeding you. So you need to pour back into other areas to get the balance right. When you pour back into the other areas, the other parts of the web are going to balance out, is what I'm hearing. That's what you need, not solving the problem. It will get solved. The minute you start moving, it's going to get solved. What you would benefit most from right now is some good old-fashioned balance. And again, find your flow. You might really be called to change routines this week. You might be called to change your day routine. You might be called to change your night routine. You might be called to change up how you work. However you do when you feel good is what you want. One of the things I like to do is imagine my favorite work day. What would it have in it? And just like get lost in that visualization of imagining what my perfect day would look like. And then I might find through that exercise, because it's a little psychic when you do it in that visualization, your guides are going to start popping information into your little daydream, and they're going to start telling you how you can adjust it. Where you might be like, I don't know why. I took a walk in that vision at first thing in the morning, and wow, it really helped me. There's some messages coming your way through your movement, through your schedule. You need to spend some time with people. People who get you. People who might be going through the same thing. People who can look at you and set you straight. The projectors in your life, or the psychics in your life, right? The people who can just look at you and go, yeah, you're not seeing this. And they can just reflect back to you. You probably reflect back onto a lot of other people, and right now you are not feeling clear. So somebody who has that gift of reflection, it might be time to book a reading, it might be time to get some Reiki done, it might be time to just allow yourself to be in the position of someone who can do that for you, right? To someone who can just cut through the noise and tell you the truth. And it's not done meanly. It's just holding up a mirror to the energy you're not seeing. When you're tangled up because you're in a pressure system, right? You can't see that. And that's really what you're needing right now, is just to be able to see things a little differently. Because the answers are going to crack open the minute you let that happen. You're not as stuck as you think. You're actually doing really well. All right, what else does this collective need to know this week? It's a big week. It's a big week. Spirit, what else do they need to know? Ooh, thank you. So, and I've been feeling this through this whole reading. You're being carried down memory lane in a lot of ways, and maybe memory lane, the remix, is not so nice. Maybe there's been good things and bad things in your memory, but right now you're clearing a really deep pattern. You're about to level up so hard, you have no idea. But it's not what you're looking at. You're perceiving the loss as a loss, and it is, but in what it's going to give back to you, it's more. You just can't see it yet. This might bring better financial balance, better life balance, it's going to bring you good. So your job is to not get caught up in all the times things have changed before and how difficult it was. It's to look at the positive side of this. What could it really be bringing you? What could it be liberating for you is what I'm hearing. It wants to liberate you. You're being liberated by all of this. That's very plain and clear to me. All the things that are happening right now are actually seeking to liberate you. But you can't see it because you're still processing the emotions of letting go. But you will. You need to know grief is just love with nowhere to go. So if you're grieving and these losses are really difficult for you, you have to know that it's just you processing. It's just you processing that love, and it doesn't mean you won't love again. It doesn't mean that something even better won't come in to replace what you're closing down now. It actually very much is coming in to replace it. That's the whole point of these things leaving your life. And this isn't about people per se. It might be, but for the majority of you, this is about jobs, this is about career, this is about personal level ups, environment. There might be a lot of moving for a lot of people watching this. There might be relocating, there might be changes of identity I'm hearing. So for you guys right now, you just need to know that even though you might need to let go of how you thought something would look, and there's a chapter coming to an end, it's actually a level up. You just don't see it. You don't see it yet, but you will. Your spirit team is really wanting to carry you through this because they're tired of you going through shit alone, from what I'm hearing. They're like, stop it! And they're really wanting to, assist you with pulling in all the information you need right now. They just need you to do it differently. They need you to, again, take a peek at Energy Mastery if you want. I have great meditations to connect to your spirit guides that are nice and easy. They really work, and they remove the noise, and they're very easy to do. I use this all the time to train people in mediumship and train people in spirit guide connection. There's very few times that there aren't immediate results that are very powerful. So if you need to just cut the noise, again, Energy Mastery is down there. It's what it's for. You deserve clarity. You deserve clarity and you deserve movement, and some of that comes from unpacking your field. When you do that, your psychic abilities will just frickin' bloom, trust me. And it's really going to help you. So if that's something you're drawn to, down below, great, easy practice you can integrate in your day. It's under 10 minutes. And I personally do it every day, multiple times a day, just because of how my job works. So I find that I need something quick and easy, and I really find it works well. So your team is really wanting to connect with you on a deeper level. They just want you to do it a different way. They don't want you to have to work super hard to connect with them. They just want it to be easy. And they want you to find room for things in your life that actually support you, right? And that's kind of what they're getting at. They really want you to spend that time, that would be their priority one, is either, this could be getting a reading for some people to get that noise cleared. This could be reading yourself, if that's something you can do. This could be those spirit guide meditations I mentioned. You need to clear your field on a very deep level, and you need to unpack and organize the energy. So energy work would be really highlighted for something like this. But your team is really wanting to come in for you, and they're going to explain everything to you, and they want that relationship with you. So here's something to understand about spirit guides is you have to cultivate your relationship with them. it's like going to a neighbor. You have to start knocking on the door and building a relationship. They don't just start, blah, blah, blah. You have to go to them. And then you have to ask them for what you need. But my favorite way to connect with Joseph is not just yak at him, though I do love doing that because he's quite funny. It's going to him and letting him explain things to me. In the meditations I've created, they just open you up to the state you need to be in to receive clear messages from them, the easiest way. Of course, eventually you'll receive them all day long, but I still, even now, like to have a dedicated space for him, where I will go and I will meet with him every day, and he'll tell me what I need to know. And it just kind of comes in images, sound, etc., and it really makes my day better. But even as a psychic, I have to constantly maintain that connection. I have to constantly make room for my spirit guides in my life, and that's why I'm successful at what I do. And it's because of that devotion. So if you're needing things clear, get some devotion into your schedule. You don't have to overhaul your whole life, but maybe a good 20 minutes every other day could really make some really big waves in your life. So that being said, if you guys want to work with me deeper, all of my information is down below for one-to-one sessions, energy mastery, all that good stuff. And I will be back next Monday with another collective reading for you. I hope you guys have the best week.